I got to ask you this because she was a good friend of mine, Carrie Fisher, and you got to work with her in Fanboys.
Love her.
She used to get mad at me because I said, God, you're like my grandma. And she's like, well, fuck you. And I go, no. I mean, like, your house is always open. You're like, hey, stop by in between auditions, have a sandwich in the fridge, go in, do whatever. I don't have to be home. I stayed at her house for 4 months in one of her bungalows because I was going through a rough time. And it was just insane. She's so giving, so wonderful. And it was a real loss. But what was your experience? I don't know how long you got to work with her, but what was it like for you?
She was on set for a day. Wow. She was the nurse in that scene. And I just, it was a sad scene where because our friend, Chris Marquette, Linus, he's dying and he's not feeling well. And she's like supposed to come out and just be like, he can see you now, Right. And I'm just sitting there just like staring at her. Oh my God, it's Mrs. Leia. Right. I'm supposed to be sad. And I couldn't get the fucking smile off my face. She is a trip, dude. She this is how I'll always remember her. We all came back from a break and we're sitting around in the waiting room where she's supposed to come in and tell us to come and meet with Linus. And we're waiting on Carrie and we're like, okay, yeah, where's Carrie? And she's just all, I'm here. And we look down and she's just like took her break on the floor. Just like lying on the floor, eating Fruit Loops off of her chest.
That's
her on the floor. And she's like, hey guys. I'm just like, what?
She was Jesus.
So relaxed. And just like, she's been living on sets her whole life. And there was just like this, I don't know. We just had so much reverence for her. And then, of course, I was so jealous that Marquette got to kiss her. I was just like, motherfucker.
That's amazing. She did an episode of Smallville and they were looking for her too. They were looking for Carrie and they found her in the, those giant air conditioning vents that they put on set, the little like worm-like things that are really big that blow cold air into the, she was in one cooling off.
Yeah. She was living in there. Yeah. She likes to get into a little nook. Oh, may she rest in peace. Yeah, man. So honored that I got to meet her. Got to meet Billy D on Fanboys.
Man. Yeah.
Got to meet a lot of my favorite people. Like I love Star Wars. Like that was
me
that's,
too.
That's
we could talk about that a whole episode. We could talk about Star Wars. It's funny, Carrie, I've talked about this, but she gave me her Force Awakens chair.
Oh,
Carrie Fisher. Yeah, it was amazing.
How did you become such good friends with her? What was the deal?
I had an assistant at the time, and her assistant called my assistant and said, hey, this is Carrie Fisher's assistant, and Carrie's daughter's a big fan of Smallville, and Carrie wants to know if you could send her an autograph. And I go, could she send me a Return of the Jedi autograph when she's almost naked with Jabba the Hutt? And so I still have the picture. It says, blow me, Carrie. And we became friends, and she'd invite me to her parties. We actually threw a party together.
Wow.
And I just started hanging out with her and going, again, I've always had this feeling, my listeners know, that I never really felt like I belong when I'm around big celebrities and things. But I'd go to these gatherings, and it'd be Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, Robert Downey Jr., Nicole Kidman, and 15 people hanging at her house all the time, like Meryl Streep, and like, Michael, get in here, say hello. I'm like, hey, Meryl Streep. Hey, George Lucas. Hey, she didn't give a fuck. She was like, this is my friend. This is Michael. I don't care how big stars you are. He's welcome. And she always made you feel like that. And we just hit it off. She knew I came from a dysfunctional family, and obviously she did too. And Debbie Reynolds lived in front of her in her little house that on the same property.
Right.
So we'd go down and visit Debbie, who was watching QVC till 3 a.m, and she'd have all these pictures of like all these big stars saying to Debbie, I love you, and it's Frank Sinatra and just crazy shit, man. So that's how we became friends.